Hey, how's it going? So there's a bunch of options when it comes to fingerboards. Today we're talking about decks. So you've been rolling with your beginner board from Tech Deck, Teak, the Grom, what have you, and you're looking to upgrade. So your first thought is, I want to try a different board. Well, there's a lot of options. And on top of those options, there's even more options. So I'll break down some basic terminology and then we can talk about like what each one of those things do. This is the fingerboard right here. This is one of my main setups. This one is going to be a Beast Pants deck. It is 34 millimeters wide, 97 millimeters long, with medium kicks and a medium concave. So the length and the width are pretty obvious. This is what the concave is going to be. So it's going to be like how far it dips down in the middle of the board. So that one is going to be a higher concave or a deeper concave. And this is going to be a mellow. As you can see, there is a huge difference. This one does have a prominent, like a U shape, and this one is like barely there. There are decks that, they'll go deeper than that and flatter than this. Just like the concave, the kicks are going to be the same way. So these are going to be a bit higher of a kick. This is going to be a Berlin wood. And then like this epic, or this famous, this is the epic, and these kicks are like extremely high with a much deeper concave, where the Collins wood is going to be a much mellower deck. So that's usually kind of like what people say. A more aggressive deck is going to be higher kicks, deeper concave. A mellower deck is going to be low concave, low kicks. So you're probably asking yourself, why are these important? Well, the biggest thing is it's going to change the way, like how easy it is, how hard it is for you to like manipulate the deck when you're doing tricks. I wish I landed that. That would have been cool. But I really like a higher kick and a deeper concave on my fingerboards. I also do like medium kicks, medium concave, and then kind of anywhere in between. I usually don't use low kicks, but I do sometimes like a mellower concave. My preference has changed a bunch since I got back into fingerboarding. As you're progressing throughout your fingerboard journey, I can almost guarantee what you're starting off with now and the first professional board you get a year down the road, you're probably going to be using something entirely different. And that's okay. You got to find what works for you, what you like to use, but don't be afraid of it changing. It happens. When I first got back into fingerboarding, I really liked low molds. So low concave, low kicks. And now I like the complete opposite, high kicks, deep concave. So now, the length, which is going to be from end to end, the width, which is going to be side to side. You got your kicks, you got your concave. Another thing that is going to be thrown out there is going to be wheelbase. So what the wheelbase is going to be this space right here between the trucks from this end to this end on the inside. There is also like nose and tail length, but that's not too, prominent. Like said, sometimes they'll say like it's a shorter tail or a longer tail, but that's not something that gets brought up pretty often at all. But what a shorter tail does is it's going to change the pop angle, which is going to be what the kicks do as well. So the pop angle is going to be how hard you have to pop the board down to get the board up. Mellower kicks, it's going to pop a lot faster. Higher kicks, it's going to take a little bit longer to pop, and I'm talking like fractions of seconds here, but for whatever reason, that to me it makes a huge difference, because once my muscle memory is dialed into a high kick board and then I switch immediately to a low kick, it's gonna throw it off. When it comes to like those dimensions, you can pretty much get however you want. You can get like high kicks, mellow concave, mellow kicks, deep concave, and then anything and anywhere in between with a short or a long wheelbase, standard wheelbase. There's a whole bunch of things you can pick from. And if you go to whatever company you're looking at, you go to their Instagram, you go to their website, chances are they'll have a mold guide. Sometimes you have to look for it. Sometimes it's just there's a whole tab dedicated right to it, and it'll break down like, the mold, the shape. So you know what you're getting, the shape. That brings me to another thing. So for the most part, what you'll be using is a standard popsicle shape, which is going to be this oval shape right here. So before we go into the different kinds of shapes, there is two different maybe categories. I don't know what the proper term is, but there is asymmetrical shapes and symmetrical shapes. So the symmetrical shapes, the nose and the tail are going to be exactly the same. With the asymmetrical, the tail is going to be a little bit more mellow than the nose. So it's going to be, you know, to think of it like this, like that's how the kicks are. This is super exaggerated, but I mean, it's going to be like, for example, this kick is going to be 25 degrees. This one right here is going to be 23 degrees, kind of like that. I would say about 80% of the time you will be dealing with asymmetrical shapes, but there's more than just this popsicle shape. So I just grabbed a handful of the different shapes that I do use. This one right here is going to be more of a boxy popsicle. So you can see like the rounding starts a lot higher up on the nose, almost like a box, but it's not. This one right here is a DK fingerboard. It's called like the street shape or something like that. But yeah, so there's that one. There's this welcome shape, which kind of has like this cruiser shape to it. There's this one right here, which is a good thing to bring up. So we'll bring the truck loops out. So you can tell that these are two totally different shapes. The biggest difference is going to be, this is going to be a lot more rounded on either end, and this is going to be a lot more tapered. So what the taper is, it's like a sharper point on the kicks. So what people like about the tapered shapes is, I guess it's easier for them to flip around. Me, I'm not the biggest fan of it because I like I like the fat noses, I like the fat kicks, but it's definitely something cool, something different to use. There's this one right here, which is going to be another one of those cruiser shapes. This one right here is going to be more of a flat nose, so it has the popsicle tail with that boxy nose like we saw earlier. There's this shape right here, which again has that boxy nose. However, the difference between the collier and the cow ply, this has a deeper concave, this has a mellower concave. And I think these kicks are higher, but they, you know, they kind of offer the same thing, but they are different. And then you have some wild shapes. So this one's not too wild, but this one right here is called the shred sled. It kind of like goes out and then tapers in entirely. I don't know, something different. I thought it was neat. And then we have like this shape right here, which is called the goo hammer from Goo Fingerboards. That one's super interesting. There's this one, which I don't think you can get anymore, but it's called the rip saw. This is going to be a Berlin wood. And look at all those edges. Like, it just offers an entirely different feel. Like if you're doing tricks with it, which all of these you can do tricks with. Some is going to be a lot harder than others, but this one just feels really cool. Like when you're using vert or something like that, this one feels really cool. If you're looking for a very unique board with a unique shape, definitely go check out Goo Fingerboards. I don't think there's anyone out there who offers as many shapes as Goo does. Yeah, that is a ton of different options you have available to you, but how do you get them? So there's several different ways you can get these decks. Probably the easiest and best way is you live next door to this person. You can just pick them up whenever, pay for them cash, don't have to wait on shipping, but not everyone is that lucky. If you're a part of that 0.01% of fingerboarders, lucky you, must be nice. But for everyone else, there's going to be the drops, pre-orders, made to order, and the secondhand market. So we'll start off with what I think is going to be the smoothest one, which is going to be made to order. There's a few different websites. One of my favorite is going to be Famous Decks. So famousfb.com. His decks are made to order, and when it comes to these Famous decks, there's like over 65 different options that you can, get this deck exactly how you want it, from size, lengths, molds, shapes. If you ask him, you can even get a certain bottom ply for a little bit more, if he has the time, of course. And another thing on that website that I really like is you can pick up a whole complete. He does sell Black River and Dynamic, Ill Pills, pyro wheels. I'm drawing a blank, but I know there's another set of wheels that he does sell. Point is, like, you can get a whole complete from Famous. And this is just one example of like the made to order, because there's goo cams, Calply, and there's a whole bunch of other ones. But those ones, you go to their website, pick what you want, give it about 1 to 2 weeks depending how busy they are, and you got your deck just like that. So there's another one that I guess is sort of made to order, sort of a drop. And the only one that I can think of right now is going to be Catfish Barbecue, where they're going to be pre-orders. However, there's a certain number of slots that he'll take in before the pre-orders are done. But I don't think we've ever hit that number, because he'll usually say that the pre-orders are up for 24 hours. And then after that, then, you know, whatever gets put in, that's what's in. But I mean, to me, it's kind of the same thing of you buy it, they make it, they send it out. But with the pre-orders, sometimes that does take quite a while, kind of like a drop. But with that one, there is a time limit, a time window that you do need to get your order in. So those are going to be like, for me, the least amount of anxiety are going to be the pre-orders and made to order decks. The most anxiety are going to be the stock drops, which are going to be your Beast Pants, your Milk, Flint, sort of double joint, not really a stock drop. It's one of those made to order, but they're not pre-orders. It's just he'll take in X amount and then the website's down for however long. Like with double joint, I've seen his website open for, I'll say, a few hours at a time to 4 minutes, and that website is down. He's got a lot of orders. And the reason he does that one is he doesn't want to get overwhelmed with orders and people to wait like forever for their decks. So that's why he does it like that. And of course, there's other companies. Those are just the ones that pop into my head. But with these drops, the timing is super, super strict. Because, you know, like say every month they make 100 boards. Thousands of people want those boards. So you're kind of just racing in line, getting your board, checking out, and hoping that PayPal doesn't take forever, or, you know, whatever service you're using to check out doesn't take forever and you miss the drop. So pro tip, as someone who my favorite decks to use are Beast Pants, so I'm always racing a whole bunch of people trying to get these decks, make sure to be on time, if not like 5-10 minutes early on that website. Number 2, know exactly what you're going for. You don't really have any time to browse around, think about getting this shape and then changing your mind. Number 3 is know exactly how you're going to pay as well, because you don't want to be spending so much time on that info page typing everything out or copying everything over. Just know how you're going to pay. That way you can get the board in your cart, check out, and you're done. My time is about 10 seconds when the drop happens, in case people were wondering. And it is possible for new people, for first timers. I can't tell you how many people have messaged me on Instagram saying, oh, I really want to try Beast Pants, I'm new to the scene, what do you got for me? Or like, you know, like what tips, because they see that I get like every drop from Beast Pants, or just about every drop if I'm home. So I'll tell them the things that I just told you. Be on time, know what you want, get in, get out. Sure enough, they'll send me pictures. I'm so happy I got in on the drop. So it's 100% feasible that just about anybody can get a deck from these like high in demand drops, or the limited edition drops where they only have like 10, 20 decks. Those are a lot harder and so much anxiety. But for me, when I get them, which I do miss the drops, I'm not perfect, but I don't know, the feeling of getting that drop, it's a huge rush for me. So for those who like that adrenaline rush, maybe stock drops are the decks for you, weirdos. Welcome to the club. And next, I feel like this could be its own video entirely, because it's such, like, to me, a complicated web. But it's going to be the secondhand market. So when it comes to the secondhand market, it's kind of a double-edged sword as well, because you can get some really, really cool things for well under retail, or you can get other companies for like 300 plus, because that's how in demand they are. Would I recommend it? No, they're just fingerboards. You don't need to pay that much for them. Of course, when you get into collecting, that is, again, another subject entirely. I know all about it. If you want to know about it, let me know. I'll make that video. But for now, just a few things. Secondhand market, do research on the person. Don't just buy from some random stranger, some account that has 0 followers, no posts, no activity, no prior activity, I guess is what I mean. I recommend doing PayPal goods and services because that does protect you. But of course, if the seller only wants to do friends and family, it's one of those you got to respect what both parties want kind of things, because there are pros and cons to either one of them. I think I jumped the gun. As you can tell, I'm like very adamant about this goods and services. But before we even get to goods and services, in the secondhand market, that does include eBay, Mercari, Etsy, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook fingerboard groups, FB sale posts on Instagram, FB sale posts on Reddit. There's a whole bunch of different other ways you can get stuff in the secondhand market. Of course, when you're dealing with eBay, Mercari, Etsy, like those kinds of websites, you're not gonna have to worry about having to have that conversation about, is this goods and services, is this friends and family? It only kind of takes the one thing, or just straight from a credit card. But if you're going onto the Facebook fingerboard groups, Reddit, Instagram, there's going to be different ways you can pay, whether it be Zelle, Cash App. I really don't know that many. I only use PayPal, and with PayPal, I will only do goods and services. So with PayPal, there is goods and services and friends and family. Friends and family is you just send the money over and they send, whatever you bought over. Hopefully. With goods and services, you send the money over and say they take a really long time to ship it, or if they don't send it at all, you get your money back. I hope you're catching my drift here. With that friends and family, Cash App, Zelle, whatever, that bank transfer, basically you're putting 100% trust in that other person. I like this community. I don't trust y'all like that at all. I bought stuff from companies' personal collection, and I'll do it goods and services. So yeah, I really mean I'm adamant about this goods and services. I don't really talk about it. I trusted one person. I was like, you know what? References, checkout. I'll do friends and family. I will never do it again. I will never do friends and family again. So yeah, good and services only. If not, I'm not interested. I mean that in the nicest way possible. I will not be interested in whatever it is you're selling. But I'm not going to make a big deal about it. It's just going to be like one of those, okay, sounds good, no worries, and then I just, respect each other, and then we go our separate ways. Because I can't, make someone take goods and services when they've been burned on that goods and services too. Because the stories I've heard, they'll file the claim even after they send the stuff over. And then, so they're out the product, they're out the money. The seller got completely screwed over. So it does go both ways. It's just, I prefer to do goods and services because I don't scam people like that. And something that you do have to come to terms with when dealing with this secondhand market, you're going to have to accept that there is a chance you're going to miss out on something really, really cool. For me, I collect a lot of split plies from Beast Pants. I've missed out on decks at a very, very good price because I will not do friends and family, PayPal, Cash App, none of that. It's PayPal, goods and services. That's it. And, the other guy, he understood where I was coming from. I understood where he was coming from. No big deal. Shook hands, walked away. It was fine. It was all good. It was a mutual understanding. And then on the flip side, you got to be okay with the possibility of giving them the money. And that's it, because that's how those transfers work. And another thing is, don't feel pressure to sell. Don't feel pressure to buy. It should not be like that. You shouldn't have something someone wants and they're just constantly sending messages. Will you sell it to me? Will you sell it to me? Will you sell it to me? And the same thing, like, are you going to buy this? Even with that, there's something like, if someone says they're going to buy something, to me, 24 hours should be more than enough time to either send the payment over or some sort of communication saying, hey, my car broke down, give me another week or something like that. Like there's stuff happening on both sides. It's just a lot of back and forth key point, do your research, use your best judgment. The community's great. We're all human, and there's some people out there that aren't so nice. So in conclusion, there's a whole bunch of different options out there for fingerboards, from length, width, shape, size, mold, all that stuff. And there is different ways that you can get them. Drops, pre-orders, made to order, or the secondary market. So I hope this video helps out someone out there in making that decision, which fingerboard you want, which fingerboard you want to try, and how you want to get it. But on top of all that, remember, budget. And that goes for buying from the secondhand market or straight from the company itself. But wherever you choose to get your deck and however, the number one thing is be comfortable how you're doing it. If you're getting something from like the Facebook Fingerboarders Unlimited, no one has any problem with just throwing in a post saying like reference check on such and such. And then, you'll hear feedback. But something important to know is because it worked out for all of them doesn't mean it's going to work out for you. Case in point, me. Why I don't trust a lot of people. But anyways, it's a lesson learned. You just, move on from it and then just share the information. If there's a subject that you think should be part of the fingerboard fundamentals, I do have other stuff planned, but I don't know, maybe something will come across and I'm like, you know what, that is a really good video to make. Throw it down in the comments. Or if I missed something and you feel like someone should know, definitely leave it in the comments. Let's learn from each other. And if you have any questions, shoot me a message on Instagram. My Instagram will be down in the description below. Give me a follow while you send me that message. It doesn't cost you anything. And subscribe while you're at it. Again, it's free. But okay, I think I'm dragging this video on long enough. Take it easy. Have a good one.